Hi guys, ka-YouTubers guys. Kahit sa mga daan na ito makikita na natin ang malino na tubig sa gilid ng kalsada dito sa Urok sa Barangay Madlawon papuntang Dangkalang Beach. Dadaanan na dito natin dito ang malino na tubig. Mga daan na ito sa kalsada ng Madlawon sa papuntang Dangkalang Beach, sa lugar na Urok papuntang tinatawag natin na crossing. Makikita na natin ang malinaw na tubig sa gilid ng kanal na kahit paliguan mo. Sabi nga ng ibang mga dayuhan dito, taga rito. Siyempre, may tanong din, saan kaya nagmumula ang tubig na to, ang source ng tubig na ito? O kahit sa mga bagong generation na halos hindi pa naman nakikita yung kung saan galing ang source. Basta naririnig lang nila sa mga elders, galing sa Bogas Cave ang tubig na ito. Dahil ang nakikita lang nila yung nasa kalsada na mula sa malaking tubo ng na main line ng tubig. Ayan po, kita nyo ang lakas. Maghapon naman may mga gumagamit nito na kasi for public use lang ito, pero yung iba umuwi na. Ngayon lang ako nakatiyempo, pero pupuntahan natin ang tunay na pinagmulan nito. Bibisitahin natin na matagal ko nang hindi napuntahan. Siyempre meron ng private na gripo ang mga tao dito, kaya halos hindi na binibisita ang yungib na yon. Isa pong cave ang pinagmumula ng source na ito, yung tinatawag dito na Bogas Cave Spring. Sabi sa Bicol, burabog ang nagtutubudan sa tubig, meaning yung Cave of Spring, yung source ng tubig. Mula kasi nang magkaroon na ng mga private na gripo ang mga tao. Isa pa sa ayaw kung bakit ay mula sa dito ngayon ng mga bagong generation dahil sa takot kasi daw sa marami daw ahas. Siyempre, pag hindi na pinupuntahan ng isang lugar, maaaring magkaroon ng ahas. Masukal na kasi, halos hindi na inaalis yun, natatanggal yung mga tumubo doon na dawag. At saka, takot pa dahil kilala naman ang lugar na ito na sinasabing misteryoso at engkantado. Kaya nga ako'y naglakas loob na bisitahin ang lugar na ito. Talagang nilakasan ko ang loob dahil sa matagal na rin ako hindi nakakabisita sa lugar na ito. Ako lang mag-isa. At katulad ng dati, pumunta ako dito mag-isa dahil sa una, nakakahiya dahil mga mabiro ang mga taga rito. Baka pagtawanan ako, ano ba ito? Siraulo na ba ito? Marami namang mga gripo na pwede puntahan na hindi ka mahirapan, ba't pupunta pa doon? Lulukuhin lang ako. So yun ang natakutan ko, maliban sa engkanto na aking kinatakutan din. So naglakas loob talaga ako na mabisita ulit. Walang kabada ako. May baon ako nakaba at takot. Siyempre, mula pagkabata, alam ko naman ito ay isa sa pinaka-misteryoso at pinaka-engkantado. Umiwas sa pagbibiro. Marami naka-experience dito, nakaranas dito ng mga Madlawon. Meron daw lalaki na hindi na nakauwi, nawala, na tinatawag na si Mang Badoy. Kasi halos hindi naman daw nakita ang sabihin natin ang labi noon, na sabihin yung katawan niya. Nawala siya, wala namang nakaalam na pumunta ng ibang lugar tulad ng Maynila, walang nakabalita sa kanya. Basta may nakakita lang daw na dito daw lang pumunta yung tao. So matagal na yung nangyari, pero alam ng mga kapatid ko at mga tao rito sa amin na totoo nangyari yon. May mga kamag-anak pa nga rito yon. Na hanggang ngayon misteryoso pa talaga kung saan pumunta yung lalaki na yon na si Inoy Badoy, sabi nila, si Mang Badoy. At maliban doon, marami pang kwento tungkol dito ng pagiging engkantado ng lugar na ito na dating naging inuman ng public na pang publiko na gripo ng taga Madlawon, bago pa dumating yung pang private na mga sariling gripo sa aming may mga faucet na sa sariling bahay. At hindi pa naman po ito ang mismong source, medyo lalakarin pa papuntang bundok pa. Hindi naman siya masyadong mataas, pero masukal. Saka baka pagtawanan pa ako o sabihin, ano bang ginagawa nito? Ngunit sa katulad kong may interest sa ganitong lugar, isa akong humble environmentalist at saka siyempre vlogger ako, pumunta ako. Sa katunayan, nagdala ako ng mga kailangan kong dalhin na siyempre lalo na ang prayer. Saka marami daw kasi ditong ahas na. Magpapasama nga sana ako sa mga barkada ko dito na kung tutuusin, eksperto naman dito dahil laging pumupunta dito. Pero takot daw dahil marami daw dawag. Saka yung may natakot pa dahil meron daw nung pagkagaling daw dito nabingi. So hindi daw na nakakarinig na. So maraming takot talaga pumunta dito. Dahil halos hindi na ito binibisita na lugar. Napakahiwaga na ng lugar na ito na engkantado. Tungkol sa Bogas Cave, sa kagandahan at hiwaga, lalo na sa kaengkantuhan. Ngunit bago po tayo magpatuloy, hayaan lang sa inyo ng aking channel. Hi YouTubers, this is Amonjo for Kado Vlogs. Life environment, music and travel. YouTubers, don't forget to support my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to click the notification bell so that you will always advance my vlogs. Thank you. Hi guys, my YouTubers. Please join me again to explore one of the most hidden, beautiful, mysterious, and full of enchanted stories, Bogas Cave Spring in Madlawon in Bulusan, Sorsogon. In the past, with our elders here, we used to be here to draw water, to take a bath, to wash their muddy hands and legs after walking from the rice fields. The youth used to be here to wash for their wounds after the ritual circumcision and some other purposes for the use of crystal clear potable water from the spring of none other than the Bugas Cave Spring of Barangay Madlawon. As I had mentioned this cave in my first vlog about Iraya Spring, it is also here in Madlawon. This Bugas Cave Spring had also full of mysterious stories about invisible beings in an enchanted kingdom to be here in this Bugas Cave. Sigpit, a usually narrow passageway on the rocky hill going to any mountain. This way is going to the Bugas Cave. Face and Sprite, the invisible considered
Furries and
invisible
Sprite
owner or any invisible being were or are considered to be the owner of this kind of natural beauty like this Bugas Cave Spring. So the visible owner of this the land with this Bugas Cave is private property of a certain Madlawonon, but this Bugas Cave had already been abandoned for a longer time or years since the coming of the Bulusan water systems from Lubas Spring as source for private utility consumers or for private use. Bugas Cave had already been abandoned or almost not been visited by Bulusanon to take a bath, even the Madlawonons, because there are many reasons for this abandonment, for fear and for because of the distance since the coming of the private water system. Because where we come here, if we have already water in our home with our own faucet, and since this Bugas Cave in the past was very important for public use, Madlawonon had to have initiative or to volunteer to clean the area, trimming weeds, branches and roots of trees of the area, the weeds and the root inside the trees, the cave to clean the obstruction that hinders the water going out. This bayanihan, the cleaning of this area became the custom of Madlawonon to clean the area of Bugas Cave because everyone benefited the crystal clear potable water from Bugas, from the spring. Because water from here became the for the public use of the Madlawonons since the water from here had been for public use until 1980s if I'm not mistaken, but not until the coming of Bulusan's water system for private use from the Lubas source in the early 90s. In the past, Madlawonon and Poctolanon benefited the potable water from here, but now after the longer years of abandonment, we can still see only the water along the road of Orok in Madlawon. We can see that water from Bugas is still the best, although almost no one visit the birthplace of Bugas Cave where their water is coming. So here is now impractical if not for the friends adventure purpose, since we have already our own faucet and shower at home. Another reason, because of fear from mysteries or enchanted stories of this Bogas cave, although this kind of faith or stories are now can be described as obsolete, backward, and old-fashioned. However, there are still individuals who believe in the invisible beings who lives in this kind of mysterious hidden cave isolated from residential areas as a kingdom of the other dimension of immortal fairies, elves, etc. There are many mysterious stories here about Enchanted Kingdom that can only be seen by those persons who have third eye, called here in Bulusan, Baragaton. Ibig sabihin katagpuin o madalas katagpuin ng mga engkanto. Di nakikitang nilalang. Baragaton means person with third eye who always see invisible to other like fairies, elves, etc. Once there was a group of farmers who happened to be here in Bogas Cave to wash the muddy feet and hands at the same time to eat their lands here. After lunch, someone said, "It is better to have a banana for dessert. I wish to have." Then suddenly a bunch of bananas fell and splashed into the water. To their surprise and fear, they had eaten anyway the fruit before they went home in a sudden out of fear not to eat banana. They eat the banana because fear from the fairies. Because according to the tradition of fairy stories of the elder, if they didn't eat the food given by the fairies, they would be punished with any misfortune like being spellbound or being charmed, or they would be damaged by the fairies or the elves or the sprite, or they would have not been permitted to return home. They would stay in second dimension of fairies. I had friends, relatives, particularly elders, who witnessed and told me their experience. Hear about mysterious species, shape and colors, or turtles here in the past. Others who here are different colors of gasili or eel, pukot or freshwater shrimp. When I was a kid, I saw here are different colors of dragonflies and butterflies. But now I realize that these species and colors are ordinary, although it's sad to say many of these multicolored species nowadays, of some are gone and becoming endangered species. Now, I have to visit this mysterious, hidden, isolated and enchanted Bogas Cave Spring in Madlawon. That I could not visit this place without a doubt, fear, and of a very prayerful revisitor after more than 25 years of absence to this childhood favorite spring. At last, we can see this is the Bogas Cave Spring of Madlawon. Of course, I am not a stranger nor a foreigner or a greenhorn for this captivating hidden beauty revisitor of Barangay Madlawon. This eternal water life hiding at the back of Bulusan High School, rice fields, and at the northwest side of Poblacion in Orok or Barangay Madlawon. Now, I have to be prepared with a small bowl for snake, flashlight, my monopod and camera. While revisiting this crystal clear water, potable water of Bogas Cave Spring in Madlawon, I have to be prepared with a small bowl for snake, flashlight, my monopod and camera, my small rosary beads, and of course with courage and prayers. Yes, I am also being afraid not only of fairies but of snakes dwelling on this densely or crowdedly plastic with wild trees, vines, shrubs, bamboos, mounds, vines and grass, and I know this place is already abandoned now. So what I expect is also I expect to challenge and to fight my fear since I am alone here. The real enchanted kingdom of Bogas Cave Spring in Madlawon. And I have to fight my own fear, and I remember the song of a saint saying, "Ang takot ay nasa isip lamang," means our fear is only in my mind. Of course, fear is natural and healthy for us. At the same time, it is important for us because fear saves us from danger. Fear defends us by giving us warning not to go to a dangerous place, not to do bad things, to be prepared and be ready before going to any challenge. In short, without fear, we will go everywhere without caution, or we are always carefree. But all fear can be overcome with our faith to our Almighty God, who is being, can be omnipresent and omnipotent. So to whom are we going to be feared of, to be afraid of, than God? And this I collected all my strength and courage from all-knowing, all-powerful, and can be present everywhere God. I believe also in other state of life or kingdom with human beings description like fairies, elves, goblins, sprite, etc. Because even these beings can be also created or be the part of God's creation as in the ancient spiritual beings. Because God created all things, visible and the invisible, the mortal and the immortals, the spirits. My grandparents, parents, and my siblings told me stories about persons with enchanted experience here, like a certain man called Inoy Badoy or Mr. Badoy, who disappeared here that nobody had known, because even his dead body or remain found here, and what had happened to him until now is still a mystery that even in the other place like Manila. His name and presence was and is no longer seen, but someone had told Madlawon that last day he saw Inoy Badong or Mr. Badoy was going to the way to this Bogas Cave Spring, and that was the last time this popular mysterious man was seen by other Madlawon, except for a parabulong, a medicine woman or espiritista. I remember this woman called by Bulusan as Cha Kunsing or Auntie Kunsing. Cha Kunsing can be considered now as a quack doctor who can heal sapi or being possessed with fairies or bad spirits with her oil in her small bottle that bubbles and turn these bubbles into fairies, warps, and other invisible beings that only persons with third eye can see. Honestly, when I was a kid, when Cha Kunsing shook the small bottle with medicated oil and asked the kids and adults if they could see those fairies inside this bottle, I didn't see anybody or anything enchanted world aside from oil, drops, and bubbles inside the bottle. And bubbles, I didn't appeal to this occultist medium or whatever we can call her, out of fear of not to be victimized by nonot, or fear to have body pains that can be the result of magic charm or spell. This old woman who can fight fairies and magic spell, charm, etc. This woman was the only person in the past who knew Inoy Badoy. She eventually had known where this man was stayed after being lost and disappeared in the world of the mortals or human beings here in Bugas. Cha Kunsing told the curious people who want not only for medicine but also to know where was Inoy Badoy after the disappearance here in Bugas Cave. As she said, Badoy was already in a good state of life in Malasimbo. Speaking of Malasimbo, when I was a kid, it sounded to me like a strange imagination or works of a storyteller, but according to the old folks, Malasimbo was or is a very true name or a place in Huban, one of town here in Sursugun. My grandfather or even my father told me that this place was an isolated place from town. Maybe it is a barrio, sitio, or a mere small place. Little was known to me about this Malasimbo. Then the description of Cha Kunsing as one of the kingdom of fairies or even the aswang. I don't have an intention of giving misjudgment or discrimination and even wrong report or repetition against the Hubanon people, because I have also relative living there in Huban. We visited their family 3 years ago, but I think my purpose is only to tell about the mysteries of life, particularly about fairies, because fairies and mysterious stories were or are connected to the legend and the stories of our one of hidden water of life of Barangay Madlawon in Bulusan. This Bogas Cave Spring was one the water of life of Madlawonon, where it's crystal clear potable water that served the Bulusanon, particularly Madlawonon, with metal pipe, I think since between the 60s and early 70s until now. we can still see this crystal clear water flowing in Igot Tree and Urok, Madlawon, or the very proximate to the national
Kita po
road.
natin ay buhangin na mula sa bugas na ang kanyang hugis at kulay ay parang bigas. Kaya lang medyo nalagyan na lang ng dumi dahil sa nga napapabayaan na itong kuweba, kaya may dumi na yung tubig sa baba. Ngunit ang tubig na galing sa loob ay napakalinis pa rin. Kaya tinawag po itong Bogas Cave dahil ang buhangin nga na nasa baba, na buhangin at maliliit na bato ay hugis at kulay bigas na kasing laki lang ng bigas talaga. So yan ang original na kung bakit tinawag ito ng mga matatanda. Pansinin po natin dahil po sa napapabayaan ng lugar na ito, may makikita na tayong mga strange things or mga kakatuwang bagay na kakaiba na parang nakakatakot. Tingnan nyo po ang mga mukha nila. Sila ay maaari silang ang nakakaalam lang sa kanila ay mga biologists na eksperto sa mga katulad ng mga fungi o kung ano man yun, kung moss man yun o weeds. Mga nabubuhay sa kapag ang isang lugar ay hindi na nagagalaw. Katulad ng lumot, tingnan po natin na mga kakaiba. At yung dating mga maliliit lang na sanga, mas lumaki ngayon. Yung dating malalaki, mas lumaki pa na mga tinatawag dito na dalig o parte ng mga roots ng mga sanga ng mga punong kahoy dito na talagang napakalalaki na. Nung kami bata pa ay madalas kami dito maligo. Kahit nung kami nagpa-circumcise, dito rin kami nagbabanlaw. Mula kami sa beach, didiretso kami dito. Madlawon ng tabi. Uya ako niya nagbisita, sulusula ako din kay manta matirinawa ka mo. Masod doon ano na ini kay ini raot na isip. Solo-solo, may dara pa na camera, ibis na pangkarigos na tuwalya. Pero grabe na talaga din ang gingod, ragpa, sabi niyo, sabi nato. Pero minsan man tabi, pag taga-bisitahan tayo magayon na magalato bugas. Salamat man tabi sa entero. Yung binati na public na tubi, saan nagbatog na ininabutangan sintubo na lansang. Sang anarumduman ko sang Kapitan Gaita, saday pa ako sadto. Nagserbi ini hanggang mga naabot ini sa Barangay Poktol, nakagamit man tabi at iba na taga Poktol. Pero hinali ang iba na parte na tubo. Kaya ang nabili na hamok ini na sa may igat ata niyan. Picnickers used to be here for their salty body here for free because this is for public utility to wash their body. What I have been sharing you about is the very source itself or of this gratis potable water. Where this water is coming from and its very source is none other than the Madlawon's Bogas Cave Spring in Bulusan, and her stories, her enchanted mysteries, her enchanted stories. I don't know if a certain speleologist or person who studies or expert about caves had been here already in the past to tell us about this cave where spring of water is coming. Bugas is a cave. Yung po ito, kuya ba po ito, but if you see the cave is already covered with cement to serve as a reservoir or potable water. For potable water, a huge solid metal pipe had been put here since in the late 60s or early 70s. As a kid, we were being here to enjoy the fresh water after swimming from Dangkalan Beach. I used to be here because my cousin lived in the nearby narrow stream, and their house was at the middle of ricefields, stream, trees, and the plain part of narrow. I miss this very place. This visit had given me a half excitement or joy and half terrifying feelings or fear of snakes and fairies or enchanted being. Included that the beauty and utility of nature with its mysterious or enchanted stories or nature are inseparable that cannot be separated because of important methods to us. All natural beauty, mountains, waters, land, trees, rocks, animals, insects, flora and fauna, etc. are all creation of God for us as a gift. Use invisible beings who dwell on or on this place who sometimes make us being terrified or being feared are mysterious phenomena with a purpose to give us lesson that every creature have a right to their own territory that we must respect. Let's take care, preserve, protect, and conserve our natural resources. Natural beauties for their protection is also for our own welfare. And these fairies and mysterious beings that will always haunt our mind and imagination while continue to touch our awareness to protect all this creation. Thank you. God bless all. I heard some beliefs about things that according to the elders can protect us from the evil spirits, invisible beings and fairies.
These things can be bark of trees, scented resins used as to same with incense. Others say that the smoke of bark or firewood of arawa tree can expel. The arawa tree can expel or overthrow invisible beings like fairies. Others said asogi or mercury, a heavy liquid metallic element. Chemical elements can also expel or exorcise or terrify fairies. But this claim could be self-contradictory to realities. Because if Bogas Cave had been the kingdom of fairies, then why Mercury had been found in some part of this Bogas Cave here? My cousin had usually found Mercury in this place. I don't know if this Mercury were naturally formed there or someone had lived there to expel fairies. But if this Mercury were a raw deposit there, then why the fairies are still there? Mercury is a poisonous, hazardous metallic element. That's why it was not mixed with the water of Bugas Cave. If this had been happened, then Bugas Cave would not be potable until now. Another thing, if fairies were being terrified by scented bark of any tree, incense like smoke, like bark of resin or arawa tree and the jangaw, etc., then why were the jangaw trees were abundant in this Bugas Cave area in the past? Other trees were also standing here like katmon trees, hagis, karangkang, balukas, bahay, etc. Some of these trees are already endangered species now. We can now the thick weeds and other unidentified. We have now thick weeds and other unidentified moss fungi that only biologist expert can explain. This is the result of long year of abandonment of the place. There is a good side of this abandonment where any unidentified beings will grow freely now without human disturbance. So I reflect that this visit of mine made to distinguish myself as one of the first or the only one who visit this place for a long time since the Bulusan water system for private use started in early 1990s. Or maybe some other persons living near this place, particularly the neighboring Naro dwellers, and those who are going home from the mountain, passing here to wash. The purpose of this vlog anyway is not to scare viewers but only to share you about one of the hidden natural beauty of Barangay Madlawon, northern part frontier barangay of the population of the town. Bugas Cave Spring is still now serving Madlawonon, Bulusanon and visitors with crystal clear potable water. It is really Bugas Cave Spring in Madlawon is forever. Beauty is forever, the same with mysteries and stories of enchanted beings and supernatural experience of people will remain questions full of secrets and mystery. The Bugas Cave Spring in Madlawon. Grabe talaga ang takot ko nung bumisita ako sa lugar na ito dahil unang pagkakataon ko simula ng pagkatapos ng mahigit na 25 years na di ko pagpunta dito. Lalo na nung tumira na ako sa Maynila. Maging yung mga badlawonon na taga rito na permanente dito na residente ay hindi naman pumupunta dito dahil nga sa meron ng mga sariling gripo ang mga bawat bahay maliban pa sa public na nasa labas ng kalsada nakakarugtong ng tubo na nagmumula dito. At ang pinakagamit pa nito na Bugas Cave Spring ay ginawa itong irrigation o patubig sa mga rice fields na papalabas papunta doon sa may bandang Dangkalang Beach na makikita natin hanggang doon sa may Bulusan High School palabas. Ako'y papauwi na masaya bagamat may kasama pang kaba dahil may mga umuwi daw dito dati noon na piniripit ang liog. Sabi liog ibig sabihin yung pinilipit yung leeg pabaliktad ng mga engkanto. So hindi ako naniniwala dahil mayroon naman talagang nakikitang ganyan ang nangyari. Ang iba daw nabingi, yung kaibigan ko ayaw ako samahan dito. Ilang beses ko nang inaawitan na magpapasama ako, ngunit ayaw ako samahan dahil nga daw sa natatakot.
Kung tutuusin, eksperto siya dito dahil madalas siya dito. Isa siya dito sa malapit dito na lupa na kanyang inaalagaan. Ngunit yung mismong papunta dito sa pinakalugar ng Bugas, ayaw niya. Dahil una, takot sa ahas. Dahil hindi na nga ito na aalisan ng damo. At ikalawa, yung daanan daw mismo at saka siyempre, takot nga sa engkanto. Takot sa mga di nakikitang nilalang. Nagdadalawang isip siya. Pero isa sa pinakadahilan, yung impractical nga, impracticality, dahil bakit ka pupunta nga naman sa isolated na lugar na to na madawag kung meron namang mas magandang pagpapaliguan na malapit na shower at mga resort. Ngunit kung iisipin natin, kailangan din natin balikan yung naging bahagi ng o parte ng buhay natin na ginamit natin ng matagal na matatawag nating tubig ng buhay, water of life. Dahil ito ang pinagkukunan ng tubig nung wala pa ang private water system na malawak na nagmumula sa Barangay Lubas. Ang Bugas ay naging public na pampublikong inuman ng taga Madlawon at maging sa ibang lugar na nawawala ng tubig, dumadayo sila dito sa aming barangay upang sumalok ng tubig. At ang talagang ang kasama rin dito yung Puktulano na karatig barangay ng Madlawon na nakikisama rin sa paggamit at sa tumutulong din sa paglilinis nitong lugar. At ngayon siyempre, baon ko ang panalangin mula sa lalo na sa papunta pa lang ako at maging sa pag-uwi. May nasalubong ako na nagtanong, yung may-ari ng motor na makikita nyo dito sa vlog na ito, kaibigan ko rin sila at kamag-anak. Nagtaka sila at tinanong ko sila kung, siyempre alam ko na papunta sila sa kanilang palayan.